I'm doing brakes on a 2013 F-150 today. So first things first, we're going to get that wheel off. You got to take these slide pin bolts out. I'm using my snap-on electric ratchet, and those are 13 millimeters. Next, you got to get this caliper off. I use this little metal trim tool. You can use a pry bar, whatever you've got to wedge up in there and try and pop that thing off. So next you have to take this caliper bracket off. I use this 18 millimeter swivel socket to get the bottom one off with my impact gun, and then on the top I used an extension and that same socket to pull it off. It might take a little bit longer with the extension on there. Getting these rotors with these mechanical parking brake shoes off can be kind of tough sometimes. I just popped it off with that pry bar there, and then you kind of wiggle it back and forth and it'll come off those wheel studs. On just about every brake job I do, I lubricate these slide pins, but it's crucial whenever you've got a truck that's 11 years old and has 500,000 miles on it. And you can see here, the one on top is pretty crusted up. So what you're going to do is take a piece of this Scotch-Brite here, and you'll clean those up with the brake clean before you reuse them. So there they are, nice and clean, and we're going to lube them up. People don't really consider brakes whenever they think of the overall health of a vehicle. They normally consider like engine, transmission condition, but if you don't make sure your brakes are in good shape, chances are you're probably not going to make it to 500,000 miles like this guy has. And I know I want my cars to last as long as they can. Like I said, this thing has 500,000 miles, and I'd be willing to bet that guy has had at least 90 oil changes. Probably all from us too. What I'm doing here is taking the Scotch-Brite and the brake clean and just cleaning up that caliper bracket where the hardware is going to sit. Might make it a little easier whenever we go to put it back together. And here I'm just spreading that caliper out. Cheap little $15 caliper spreader from Amazon. And this thing ratchets back and forth and pushes that piston in. And that's what it should look like after you're done. You should have lots of room for those new brake pads. There's our new rotor. And I'm going to put a little Loctite on those caliper bracket bolts and just zip those back in there. Put your new hardware onto the caliper bracket. And then you're going to take some more of that brake parts lubricant and put it on the top and bottom of that new brake pad. After you put the brake pads on, you're going to put that caliper back on, which should be pretty easy since it's spread wide open. And all that's left to do is put those slide pin bolts back in. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.